Hello and welcome, Savvy Sagittarius. My name's Rose Smith from AbsoluteSoulSecrets.com and I'm here to do your tarot astrology for the month of June 2020. Well, what an absolutely humongously huge month we're going to have, all of us in every star sign. There is just so much going on in the heavens at the moment, which is absolutely going to ensure transformation one way or the other. So this whole year is actually very, very big. There is a lot going on, but this month is one of the biggest months, and we actually have 6 planets retrograde, 3 asteroids retrograde, and 2 eclipses. So let's just have a look at that, and I'm going to go through every retrograde and what it means for you, Savvy Sagittarius, because all of the planets are in different houses, and so every star sign's going to be affected in different ways. So let's start firstly with our favourite Mercury retrograde that everybody knows about. Oh, and before I do that, I should say that retrogrades are by their very nature disruptive. Okay, so they're here to shake things up a bit in your life so that you can refocus, you can reassess, review the situations in your life and make changes where you need to, okay, for your highest good. The other thing about retrogrades is that although often it's not a good time to start things, it is a great time to complete things. And you may find, especially like, for example, Venus retrograde, which I'll talk about in a moment, that old lovers may come back from the past because Venus rules love. Things, you might have memories of the past, you might have nostalgic feelings, and just bits and pieces coming up in your mind, and you're thinking about someone from the past, and then the next thing they ring you or you hear some news about them, and that sort of thing. But let's go back to Mercury, our one of our most popular retrogrades. Everybody talks about Mercury, but not so much about the others. So from the 17th of June to the 12th of July, Mercury is retrograde in the sign of Cancer. So and the other thing I must say about all retrogrades is that there's a shadow period on either side of the dates that I mention, where the effects of the retrograde are either coming on or coming off. Okay, so these dates just allow a little bit of wiggle room either side. Now, Mercury is retrograde in your 8th house of shared resources and intimacy. Shared resources includes things like loans, inheritances, superannuation or 401k if you're in the US. It's to do with resources that may be that you share in some way or you don't have full control over. And there's likely to be, with Mercury retrograde, problems with communications, delays with technology. If you sign any agreements, you may have to go back and revisit those agreements at a different date. You know, if you're buying a new car, you know, all of a sudden you can't get it in the color you want, and then you need it to go back and change the agreement because you're going to have it in blue instead of red or whatever. Things change. When you make a decision under a retrograde, it is quite possible that when that planet turns direct, you will have to make a new decision. Okay, so it's always better if you can avoid, you know, sort of mucking about and going over the same thing over and over again, if possible. So Mercury in your 8th house is also to do with intimacy, and you might find that if you're in a relationship, that there's some distance on an intimate level between you, or alternatively, things come up about that, and then you have to sort of sit down and have a talk. You know, communications could be strained or misinterpreted or misunderstood in some way under Mercury retrograde. Now, added to that, if it is to do with a relationship, we have Venus retrograde overlapping that Mercury retrograde, And Venus went retrograde on the 13th of May right through to the 25th of June in Pisces, that very emotional sign. And this affects your relationships and, those people close to you. Venus also looks after your finances, and so there could be a slowing down to do with money. Perhaps, if you're working, that your job, you go from 5 days a week down to 4 or even 3 or something like that happens. I've noticed a real trend this month in every single sign. Money has been a factor, like more so than ever. And it just keeps coming up and up and up, and it's in your sign too, and we'll have a look at that. But just, I guess to be safe, prepare yourself and make yourself stable. And, don't go spending money willy-nilly because you may need it later on, especially if there's a slowdown in your work, or even if you're waiting for government checks and things like that, supplements from the government. There could be some delay with those coming as well. So Venus is retrograde in your 7th house. So that's committed partnerships, those people close to you that you've probably known for a long time. And, there could be some stresses and strains on those relationships. Mars is not retrograde until September. Jupiter is retrograde from the 13th of May to the 14th of September in Capricorn, which is an earth sign and likes to make things real and physical, loves stability and organisation. And Jupiter is retrograde in your 2nd house of values and finances. Okay, so Jupiter normally likes to increase things. So if it wasn't retrograde, he'd be looking at increasing your money supply. But retrograde, things can go backwards. So the money that you think that you're getting perhaps isn't as much as what you actually get. So that's why I'm saying to you, be very careful with your finances. Saturn is also retrograde in your 2nd house of finances, 11th of May to 29th of September. Again, in Capricorn, there are real physical effects here. Saturn is often, it throws up challenges, mountains for you to climb, obstacles, blockages, delays. However, the way to get around it is to be persistent and be determined. Perhaps you have to work for less. If you have an hourly rate, you might consider putting that down. Because if you just stay determined at what you're doing, if you believe what you're doing is what you're supposed to be doing, then, you might reconsider your fee. The thing with Saturn, once you get through it, once you get through it, you realise that, yes, Saturn's a hard taskmaster, but what you've gained under Saturn, you'll never lose. So it really builds strength of character, and your business is stable and reliable if you get through this. The other thing here is you may consider walking away from a business or walking away from a job under this influence as well, if it all gets too hard and you can't manage. Neptune is retrograde 23rd of June to 28th of November, again in emotional Pisces. And this is in your 4th house of home and family. Okay, this could bring a very spiritual influence into your home, which would be fantastic. Maybe your children or your husband or somebody there has not really accepted spirit in the way that you would have liked, is not on the same page as you spiritually. And, under this, perhaps they'll start to wake up. There could be some issues first to deal with, because Neptune retrograde often brings up sort of delusions and illusions. You don't want to have false hope, hoping that they're going to finally see the light and then they don't. So just be aware of that, or they could be deluded, could be bringing up their delusions as well. And you're looking at it and thinking, oh, they're going to wake up, And yeah, so I guess there the best thing is just to let them go their own way, and eventually, you know, you keep a positive focus, and eventually they'll understand. Might take a while. Pluto is retrograde in your second house of finances and values, 25th of April through to the 4th of October, again in physical Capricorn. Okay, so Pluto's often regarded as the house of death and destruction and chaos, because that's what he brings up. And there's also things like manipulation, addiction, control, power over, all the awful dark stuff. But the other side, there's also a light side, which is the phoenix rising from the ashes. Many of you could leave your work and start something new or get a new job out of this. Although I know in lots of countries, due to the COVID situation, many millions of people have lost their jobs. There are still people that are working. However, we're just at the start of COVID. Don't get this false hope thing happening that, oh, it's all going to be over in 5 minutes. Reality is this is going to go on for years, but the first 3 years will be the hardest. Okay, so we'll be talking about this. I'll be 90 years old and I'll be talking about this still. I'll be doing YouTube and talking about, remember 2020, COVID-19, we all lost our jobs. You know, I'll be talking about it then, and we will still be feeling the ramifications and consequences of what's happened. So prepare yourself for huge change this year. And if you look at this diagram, you can see it goes right into October, November. Okay, so all right, let's have a look now. I should have said too, if you're new and you haven't been here before, I do a combo of things. So, you know, I talk about horoscopes, which is here on the board at the moment. I'm also going to pick 2 tarot cards as theme cards for the month for you, Sagittarius. We'll do a tarot reading and I'll do a psychic summary at the end. Alrighty, so let's have a look at your theme cards first and see what comes out for the first half of the month for Sagittarius as a theme for June 2020. I haven't even got my eyes closed and I can see a ladder's just popped into my head. This is about pulling yourself out of a hole, climbing out of a hole. Okay, you can do it. From this month, I know that we're just at the start of this whole unemployment thing. And from this month on, the numbers are really going to increase. So you may think that, you know, oh, I didn't get let go, I'll be right. However, there are a lot more businesses that will not make it through the next few months, I'm sorry to say. But the upside is this is so we can reassess. There are a lot of people that are doing things and they're doing it just for money because they don't think they can make money and be spiritual at the same time. Or, you know, they've got a different sort of idea about you know, this sort of compartmentalization of, oh, that's what I do for money, but I'm a spiritual person, and I understand it. I really do. You know, I was in that. I didn't start Absolute Soul Secrets till I was 40 years old, and so I understand that you do things sometimes because you need the money. I've been there. However, there comes a time when Spirit says enough is enough. You have to make a stand now about what you believe. Okay, so the card coming up is the 2 of Wands. Okay, this fits nicely with what I was just talking about. You see there, she's been blocked in by a stone wall for some considerable time. She's been kept in a little box. Okay, if you're a customer service agent, you may have been in a box of some description. Excuse me. This is Ross River fever that I've got, and so I get this cough sometimes. And she's here behind this stone wall, and now all of a sudden there's a gap, and you can step out of your box for probably the first time in ages, and you can make money another way, okay? And she's got her feet on the ground. She's burning sage, so she's cleansing her area, and it's about self-expression. She's dressed in blue, and she's got red for action, and there's the 2 baseball bats here. That's about taking action, okay? Enough of just talking about it. It's time to do it. Okay, and she's got the a balloon here with the world up here in spirit. So even though there's a grey background because it looks, problematic in the background, there is a way for you to be free and not restricted. Okay, 2 of Wands, full of inspirational energy and motivation. Second half of the month for savvy Sagittarius. I can just feel the feeling of expansion and growth around you at the moment while I'm saying that. Okay, closing my eyes now, and what do I see? Okay, I see, it's funny. Sorry, I'm not going to cough all the way through this, I promise. I see a boat on the ocean, okay? So this is where that adventure and expansion theme comes in. But this is the boat on the ocean of your subconscious. I'm not talking about you going on a cruise, okay? Please don't do that at the moment. And it's dark, and you're in a little rowboat, and it's nighttime, but you are making progress. You may not be sure of your direction just now. However, if you follow the stars and watch your horoscope regularly, that will help you with the direction of your life. And so, yes, there's progress. Is men in the boat. That's the masculine side of you, the divine masculine that is leading you in the way you're supposed to go. There's a man here who's got a lamp and he's holding it up. So lucky for you, although it's dark and you might be feeling uncertain, the waters of your subconscious are not tumultuous, okay? You're not going to drown or anything like that. You're making steady progress, so that's good news. Okay, and we come up with the Queen of Swords. Okay, so this is sort of mixed thing. You'll see here she's chopped her own head off. That's not a good idea. The reason she's done that is because I suspect your thoughts going round and round and round in your head like a lunatic, driving you and just giving you all of these worries when they're your thoughts and you can take control of them. Okay, it's your head and you can take control of your own head. She's wearing blue for expression. She's sitting on a diamond. Diamonds are made from heat and pressure, so you may have experienced a lot of stress lately. But she's making decisions. See that sword there? It's about cutting, dissecting and analysing a situation and making a decision. And she's cut something off from the past, something that used to be in your head that was going around and around. So Spirit wants you to not overthink things, to go more with the flow and to take action when appropriate. Okay? Don't let your thoughts rule you. Okay? Savvy Sagittarius. All right, so they're your themes. So remember those. Now we're going to go to your horoscope, and I'm going to go through very quickly. There's a lot of energy going on about your finances here in your second house. Look at all of that. And here in your 8th house of shared resources and intimacy. Okay? Shared resources and dollars, they're very important themes for you this month. May 11 to June 27, Mars in your 4th house. Okay, so here, Mars here, it's all about being motivated at home. You could get a lot of work done around your house. It's do-it-yourself time. Do be cautious though with family members. Sometimes Mars gives you a lot of passion and arguments can develop, so just be a bit careful. But Mars does give you a lot of energy, so you could do a lot of home projects in June. May 19th to June 20, Sun in your 7th house of committed relationships, just here. Okay, Sun often brings insight, awareness, A feeling of accomplishment. It could be harmonious and happy times because things are undertaken for mutual benefit. It's great for partnerships. May 27 to August 4, Mercury here in your 8th house of shared resources and finances, hidden secrets. Just be careful about secrets because they could come out with that. But it's more likely to be about negotiations, joint finances, discussions about money, your budgeting and that sort of thing. It could also be discussions about intimacy or even death or inheritances or loans, okay, other people's money. May 31 to June 3, Venus conjunct Venus. You might be feeling a strong desire for love and affection. A new relationship can begin this time if you're looking, and it's a good time to surround yourself with beauty, okay? Be peaceful and harmonious. May 31 to June 3, Mars conjuncts Mars. It's a great time to make a fresh start. Put the power on, go for it. Physical energy and vitality, and do be careful of irritability and perhaps accidents if you get too carried away. Okay, so with that Venus conjunct Venus, remember Venus retrograde in that time period as well up to the 25th of June. So it could be that you're looking for love but you can't find love where you expect to find it. And if you start a new relationship, maybe it's difficult to communicate in some way. Maybe you can't see the person as often as you would like. June 5 is a lunar eclipse in your sign here. Okay, so this is pretty important because it brings up issues around your identity and what you want, the direction of your life. Lunar eclipse is always about transformation, and the effects of eclipses, lunar and solar, can be for up to 6 months. They can even start before the date, I'm telling you. And with this year, there's 6 eclipses, so we're just rolling from the effects of one into the next, so there's a lot to handle. June 10 to June 14, Mercury trine Mars is a great time to speak up, assert yourself. You might enjoy challenging intellectual pursuits, and maybe you're feeling very curious about something. June 19 to July 22nd, Sun in your 8th house of joint financial affairs, taking care of legal business or intimacy issues, okay? Gives you insight and awareness and maybe a sense of accomplishment and happiness as well. You might be looking for a loan and you finally get it, okay? June 15 to July 3, Jupiter conjunct Pluto. All right, so this is a need for personal recognition. You might be filled with drive to better yourself, expand your horizons. More independence is called for. Do be careful. There might be people that try to stop you here, and they somehow think that your quest to better yourself interferes with them. Okay, so here's Pluto here and Jupiter here next to each other. So there's like a bit of a thing going on between these two planets, who's going to win. June 21st, solar eclipse in your 8th house. New beginnings around joint finances and intimacy. Maybe if you're in a relationship, you go to a new level of intimacy, a deeper level. June 26th to January 6th, Mars in your 5th house. Mars moving into the 5th house of creativity, romance, or what I call young love. When you just meet somebody and you don't know them very well, but you can feel the sparks. There's a drive for self-expression and creativity, and you're looking to fulfill your desires. Competition and sports might feature, and you might have strong romantic urges. 29th of June to December 17th, Saturn moves into your 3rd house, finally. of communications, publishing, your local area. And so there could be sort of obstacles or delays in this area, but it's a bit of a relief to get it out of your second house, okay, of finances. June 12 to July 14th, Saturn sextiles are ascendant. Okay, so your ascendant here, this is about what you're going to become, the lessons you need to learn in life. And with Saturn here, okay, it's a good aspect actually, it's a positive aspect. So it's giving you more stability and maturity. You may attract older friends or an older, more experienced lover. You're looking towards people more as mentors, or those people who you think are quite wise. I guess authority and fatherhood figures may help you out. You could have more confidence, and this will lead to positive outcomes. So older, more experienced people will help you out in some way. 28th of June to July 2nd, Mars sextile Saturn, another positive influence where you have more self-discipline, more maturity. You persevere and you're determined, working quietly away. You have more stamina and concentration. Positive outcomes, accomplishments with real practical value. Okay, so that's your horoscope. So there is a big focus on money, so just write that down. And don't forget these two cards, the Two of Wands and the Queen of Swords, because now I'm going to do a week by week tarot spread for you savvy Sagittarius, and we're going to have a look and see what comes up. I'm just going to change this board back to here so we can do 5 cards, a card for every week, and the extra couple of days at the end. Okay, so these 2 cards have just come out. So we're going to call this card 1. Okay, guess what it's about? Your money. Seven of Pentacles. Yes, there's money coming, but you've got to wait. See all that growth and opportunity down the bottom? But it doesn't happen overnight, but it does happen. So these things, you can water a plant, you can plant a plant, you can water it, it gets the sun, but it's going to grow in its own time. Okay, so that's one thing to think of. The other thing is you're coming to the end of a cycle. It's like there's been a lot of work put into something, and you're finally at the end. You could be feeling quite tired, you've had to work hard, but you're at the end of something. And this is quite a fiery motivational energy. This is going to push you into a new cycle, okay? So there's a lot of green in that too, so a lot of growth. Green can also mean money, okay, as well as opportunity and growth. So that's the first week. I'm going to cross that like that. That's the first week of the month for you. Now let's have a look at the second week for savvy Sagittarius, and we'll see what comes out for you now. And I'm going with that card, closing my eyes now. I've got the colours red and blue. Action. It's hard to make a decision about something is swinging backwards and forwards. I see a swing, and maybe you're thinking, oh, it could be this, but on the other hand, it could be that. So decisions might not always be easy, but we have the King of Cups to support you. Okay, when I get the kings or queens, the royals, I know it refers to the divine masculine and feminine within. Okay, so this is your divine masculine energy coming up, probably as a result of that. He's going to help you with your emotions. This guy is generous. He's extremely experienced. Remember, I was talking about Saturn before, being attracted to older, wiser people with more knowledge, or you think they're older and wiser. Anyway, let's hope they are. And he's sitting on a shell here with the ocean in the background. Okay, he's in touch with his subconscious. He knows what's going on. He's been around and seen a few things. So he's no fool. He's all about self-expression. And he's got this, the sun in the background here, which this gold and this gold here around his throat, it's all tied in with the solar plexus, okay, the fatherhood figures, okay, and feeling his emotions coming up, talking about that, and he takes action, this guy as well, and he achieves things. Like there's a sense of confidence and self-esteem, and he can help improve your confidence and your self-esteem. So the divine masculine within rising to the surface. I like that. Middle of the month, third week to the third week of June for savvy Sagittarius. I'm going to go with that one. Closing my eyes now, Vegemite. I don't know why I get Vegemite. I don't really eat it very much, maybe once every couple of years, but I can taste it right now. Maybe somebody's eating Vegemite on toast. I'll have some, thanks. I'll be around there in 5 for Vegemite on toast. I've had my breakfast too. Okay, so looking for a picture, not just a taste. I'm looking for a picture for Savvy Sagittarius, third week of June. Okay, I've got clouds in the sky, which indicates that, yes, there's some issues here, some problems to deal with. But you know what? They're sort of threatening, but they're not really bad. They're actually blowing away really quickly. And so although you might be worried about a storm and what the future's going to bring, it could clear just as easily. So they're blowing away. We come up with the Knight of Pentacles, again, about your finances. Okay, this is like spreading your wild oats. Maybe it's like going out and putting in a lot of resumes to businesses to get a job. It's about broadening your horizons. If you normally do, a job doing such and such, all of a sudden then you might decide that, okay, I need to, broaden my horizons and do a job in something related but not exactly the same, and have a bigger field. Who did I have? Coles in Australia recently, they were putting on Qantas pilots to stack shelves. It's a job. That's a big thing to go from a Qantas pilot of an aircraft to stacking shelves, and there were guys that were doing it, and women too, I guess. But I saw a guy being interviewed. That's why I refer to guys. And so they're not going to just sit at home and do nothing. They want to keep working. So, they've gone to stack shelves at Coles. So I'm not suggesting it, you do that big a jump, but there's other things that you could do, okay? So he will help you and give you the strength. Knight of Pentacles, looking for something much broader, looking at the big picture, okay? And let's have a look now for the 4th week of June for Savvy Sagittarius. Savvy Sagittarius, 4th week of June. Going with that card. Closing my eyes now. I've got blue, green. Okay, writing, publishing, blogging. I see somebody writing a letter, a note. It's in a journal, writing to yourself. Okay, it's a list of things to do. Okay, getting organised. That's what this is about, getting organised. And we have the 3 of Wands. Okay, this is often about teamwork in some respect. We have a woman in the middle who's in red, full of fiery action, wants to get things done. We have one in white here, very spiritual, not as full on, and one here in black who probably doesn't have a clue, because black means that things are hidden. The information is hidden from this one on the end. This can be in a family even, where there's a joint project, maybe at the home, because remember we had that energy here, the Mars and Neptune in the home. So a lot of energy for doing things around the house. So this could be to do with that, but you have to work as a team. There is a possibility of disagreements because you're so passionate about your ideas and things like that, but that's fine. You will get the job done. Okay, so don't be too concerned if you don't agree on every single detail. Whatever it is, you could get the job done. If you're going out with 2 friends, do be a little bit cautious, because sometimes they form a clique and you might feel out and not in with the other 2. You can be civil and just don't go into that again. You know that if they're clicking and they're just sort of ignoring you when you go out, and that's happened to me actually, I'll never forget that. Then you just say, well, they're not really friends, and you know, I'm really not going to have any more to do with them. So you want to deal with people obviously who is on the same page as you and care about you. Okay, but yeah, more likely it's to do with teamwork at work or in a family situation. Okay, last 2 days of the month, and I see a door closed with a little bit of light under the door. You've got to decide if you want to open this door or not. If it's to do with the past, somebody comes back from the past, or you hear news about somebody coming back from the past, then think about all of the reasons they're in the past. You know what? Nothing's changed fundamentally. They're still the same person. So do you want to open that door? All right, and we have the Three of Cups. This is more likely where you get the three friends I was talking about here. They're all in the mouth of the fish. Check out those teeth on that fish. And this is to do with your subconscious. So this is where you get the two clicks. This is far more likely with this card than that card. They're all being driven by the subconscious. This one in the middle obviously is extremely wasteful, low base energy person. I don't want to sound too judgmental, but you can see she's just wasting that there. So these people are different. This one's probably a bit more reserved. This one's wearing red, so she's ready for action. So, you know, it could be about going out and socialising. Maybe a friend comes back from the past, but she wasn't a very good friend, okay? And do you really want to deal with her again? So be aware, you can go out together, that's fine, but do be aware there are subconscious forces here at play, and how much can you trust this person, okay? So that's a matter for you to decide at the end of the month. Okay, so we have a focus here on finances with the Pentacles and the Wands. We have Cups for emotions. We have focus on finances, Wands, and Cups. So your emotions, spirit, and your finances are likely to all play an interconnecting roles in your life this month, savvy Sagittarius. All right, so let's have a look now. I'm going to do a psychic summary for you, and I'll close my eyes now. Savvy Sagittarius for the month of June. What do I see? I see a bridge. Okay, this is good news because it's bridging parts of your subconscious, okay? Energies that have been sort of out of your control or you haven't had contact with, they're coming up, and you're going to build this bridge and have more control, more power in your life, more power over yourself, okay, most importantly. Okay, there's somebody here pulling the strings like a puppeteer. You don't have to be on those. Oh, I'm looking at the strings and they're on a wooden frame, and I'm looking down and there's nobody on them. It's like the strings have been cut. And so you can cut the strings. If anybody's got any sort of power or control over you, make the decision this month to cut the strings, okay? Cut the past. You don't need it anymore. We're going into a brand new world now. It's a whole new era, a whole new realm of energy. And, you know, we don't need the past. I see a rocket taking off. There's good things here. There's lots of opportunities and something about to take off in your life. I see a horse. A white horse like what was on the board there, and that's about horsepower, okay? So out of everything that's been happening, I know there's a lot going on. Out of everything, you have the opportunity for freedom and power and independence and to do things your own way, savvy Sagittarius. Okay, well, that's it for this month. I hope you found it helpful. Please give this video a like if you did. I really appreciate that. And don't forget to subscribe and click the notification bell for regular updates. But most importantly, have a very insightful and wonderful month. Okay, thanks again, Savvy Sagittarius, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now. Thanks so much for watching. Please visit my website, absolutesoulsecrets.com, for all things spiritual. Have a lovely day.